बच्चों, how are you doing? I hope you all are doing fine. So let's start the new chapter, the Indus Valley Civilization. And we have in learning part the Indus Valley Civilization or the Harappan culture, the environment of the Indus Valley Civilization, sources of the Indus Valley Civilization, main features of the Indus Valley Civilization, art, craft and architecture, social and economic life of Indus Valley people, contributions of the Indus Valley Civilization. So आज हम इन सब के बारे में सीखने वाले हैं. Ready हैं आप सब? Let's start. Urbanism is a concept mostly used by sociologists as the process by which a section of population adopts an urban way of life while residing in a rural area. Urbanization means a process of transformation from rural to urban. It is a socio-economic process by which an increasing proportion of an area becomes concentrated in the towns and cities. So from about 5000 BC, increasing numbers of settlement began to appear throughout the Indo-Iranian borderlands, and these were village communities of settled agriculturists who cultivated wheat, barley and other crops and raised cattle, sheep and goats. They used stone, copper and bronze and high quality painted pottery. Towards the middle of the 4th millennium BC, agricultural settlement began to spread more widely in the Indus Valley itself. Around 2600 BC, the full urban society emerged at Harappa and other sites. For this reason, this stage has been named the early हड़प्पन और अर्ली इंडस कल्चर. तो आपके पास एक रीज़न आ गया कि क्यों इसको ये नाम दिया गया. ठीक है. Okay ji, now let's proceed further. As men settled down in small villages, he evolved new craft occupations and like pottery, carpentry, smithy and weaving etc. So it led to the emergence of a number of communities of craftsmen. The surplus produced by farmers and craftsmen and was exchanged through a barter system. तो पहले क्या हुआ करता था बच्चों, अगर मुझे अनाज की ज़रूरत है और आपको कुछ क्राफ्ट की ज़रूरत है तो हम एक्सचेंज कर लिया करते थे, उसके बदले में वो ले लिया करते थे जो आपको ज़रूरत है, आप एक दूसरे से एक्सचेंज कर लिया करते थे. तो ये सिस्टम पहले चलता था. A trade developed, people started moving from one place to another place. Small villages turned bigger and big villages developed into towns. तो छोटे छोटे गांव बड़े हो गए. बड़े कैसे हो गए? वो चेंज होने लग गए बड़े गांव में, और जो बड़े गांव थे वो कस्बे बन गए. Craftsmen and tradesmen were neighboring areas assembled there for trade, and these towns become prominent cities. Language, script, social organization, government, etc. also developed. The early civilization of Egypt, Mesopotamia, Indus Valley and Wang Ho Valley grew along the rivers because the rivers provided an abundant supply of water to support a large population and irrigate the fields. क्योंकि वो हमारी जो नदियाँ थी वो बहुत सपोर्ट कर रही थी कि इतनी खेतों को जो पानी पहुँचना चाहिए उसके लिए, और इतनी बड़ी जो पॉपुलेशन थी उसके लिए, इस सब इन्होंने हमें सपोर्ट किया पानी के लिए. Besides, river provided cheap means of transport. These river valley civilization gave the first scripts, calendar, numerals and codes of law to the world. Let's do it, bachcho. Why do you think the early civilizations flourished on the river banks? Sochiye. The Indus Valley civilization of the Harappan culture, till the beginning of the 12th century, historians were unaware of an ancient civilization that flourished in northwestern India about 4,500 years ago. The Archaeological Department, Western Circle, discovered in 1921 the site of Harappa on the bank of Ravi in Montgomery district of West Punjab, which is now in Pakistan. In 1922, another city in ruins, that is Mohenjo-daro, was unearthed in Larkana district of Sindh province, now which is in Pakistan. Did you know Harappa is a city of in Punjab and northeast Pakistan? The city existed from about 3300 BC until 1600 BC. The town was believed to have as many as 40,000 residents. So आप ये diagrams देख सकते हैं, the extent of Harappan culture in India. Several excavations were then undertaken along the Indus River and its tributaries and brought to light many more sites. The relics of the Harappan culture was discovered at various places, Rupar on the river Satluj in Punjab and Kalibangan in Rajasthan between Hanumangarh and Surat. Lothal Rangpur and Rojadi in Gujarat, Amri and Chanhu Daro in Sindh, Banavali in Haryana, Alamgirpur in western Uttar Pradesh, etc. A couple of years ago, 2 Harappan sites were unearthed at Dakshkheda and Bedua villages in the Rohtak district, Haryana. The environment of the Indus Valley Civilization. The present climate of the Indus Valley region is hot and dry. But in ancient times, the region had moist and humid climate, dense forests and a rich wildlife. Annual flooding of the Indus provided rich and fertile lands for growing various crops. Sources of the Indus Valley Civilization. Our knowledge about the Harappan culture mainly depends upon the archaeological evidences found at various sites in the Indus Valley, Gangetic basins and Gujarat, as the Indus script has not been deciphered so far, so there are no literary sources, ruins of ancient cities, buildings, pottery, seals, toys, ornaments, tools and weapons, etc. throw a great deal of light on the Harappan culture. Did you know Mohenjo-daro was a city located some 80 kilometers southwest of modern Sukur, Sindh, Pakistan and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site? Mohenjo-daro in Sindhi stands for Mound of the Dead. Let's do it, bachcho. Make a list of 10 important Harappan cities and identify the state and country of each site. Main features of the Indus Valley Civilization. So बच्चों अभी हम कुछ main features के बारे में जानेंगे Indus Civilization के. The Indus Valley Civilization was an advanced civilization. The people led a luxurious urban life and some of the distinct features of the civilization are as given below. Town planning. The Indus Valley people had a remarkable skill in town planning. उन्होंने ऐसे प्लान किया था कि जैसे हम लोग अभी भी अच्छे से ना कर पाएँ, इस तरह से उनकी प्लानिंग थी. They lived in a well-planned towns. The city was divided into 2 main parts. One was citadel and another was lower town. Citadel or the Acropolis. This was the raised part of the city and looked like a fort. एक किले की तरह दिखाई देती थी. It was perhaps the administrative blocks inhabited by the ruling class, priests and wealthy merchants. तो इनका रहना होता था यहाँ पर. And massive and high walls protected and citadel from recurring floods in the Indus River. तो बड़ी बड़ी ऊंची दीवारें बनाई गई थी ताकि बाढ़ ना पाए. The citadel enclosed important buildings like the Great Bath and granary and the assembly or town hall. सोचिए उस समय पर भी इतना सब कुछ हुआ करता था. And the lower town, it was inhabited by the common men, petty merchants and craftsmen. It was divided into rectangular blocks by wide streets and lanes cutting each other at right angles and forming a grid. The roads were provided with lamp posts meant for lightening them. जैसे हमारी street lights होती है ना, ऐसे ही. The streets were paved with fire-baked bricks. They were kept clean. Factories and bakeries were not permitted to be built within the limits of the town to avoid pollution. तो pollution का तब भी ध्यान रखा जाता था. Well-planned drainage system. The Indus Valley people had great concern for sanitation. They built an underground drainage system. The main drain was lined with bricks and the sewage water was discharged through well-covered street drains and manholes were provided for periodic clean. कितना ज़्यादा अच्छा सिस्टम था बेटा कि ड्रेनेज के लिए प्रॉपर नालियाँ बनाई गई थी, उनको कवर किया गया था. It was great planning. Majestic building. The cities of the Indus Valley had majestic public buildings, places of worship, granaries, etc. The citadel had the following main buildings. And now we have the granary. It was the largest building in the citadel at Mohenjo-daro. This rectangular building stood close to the river to facilitate, the easy transport of grains, जो अनाज को लेना और लाना और ले जाना easy हो सके. It measures 45.7 meters in length and 15.2 meters in width. So Harappa had 6 granaries. To the south of the granaries there existed brick platform meant for threshing grain and barracks for laborers. These huge granaries were meant for storing surplus grains. Town hall. The town hall, it was an imposing structure measuring 69 meters in length and 23.4 meters in width, and it was a high pillared hall. Its walls were 1.5 meters thick. This building might have been used either as administrative blocks, an assembly hall, a prayer hall, or for cultural purposes. सोचिए कितना बढ़िया होता होगा ना, वहाँ पे सब चीज़ें बनाई, जैसे हमारे अपार्टमेंट्स बनते हैं, हमारे हम लोग रहते हैं और सब चीज़ें सोचते हैं कि ये भी होना चाहिए, ये भी. तो पहले के लोगों की प्लानिंग कितनी अच्छी हुआ करती थी. The Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro, it was a rectangular tank which resembles the tanks of South Indian temples. It measured about 12 meters into 7 meters and was 2.4 meters deep. The bath had 2 flights of steps on either sides made of baked bricks and bitumen. आप जैसा कि देख पा रहे हैं पिक्चर में. It was cleaned periodically. And there were small rooms around the bath which were used as changing rooms. जैसे हमारे अभी स्विमिंग पूल होते हैं और इसके साथ ही चेंजिंग रूम्स होते हैं ना, बिल्कुल इसी तरह से बनाया गया था. I am proud of being Indian, बच्चों. The Great Bath was used for ritual bathing during religious ceremonies. Houses. The dwelling houses had 1 or 2 stories. Brick, wood and stone were used for making buildings. Every house had 2 or more living rooms, a bathroom, a kitchen and a courtyard. Every house had its own well. हर एक घर का अपना एक कुआं हुआ करता था. Thinking showed बच्चों how the properly planned and structured dwellings of Harappa civilization were different from early humans' dwellings. Art, craft and architecture. Pottery. The Indus Valley people excelled in art of pottery. They made glazed and colorful clay pottery. पिक्चर में देख रहे हो ना, पेंटेड पोट्री. पहले वो बनाया करते थे, उसे पेंट करा करते थे, कितना खूबसूरत काम करते थे वो लोग. Painting. The Indus Valley people painted designs on the earthenwares, and they drew the figures of birds, animals and human beings and geometrical designs. Art of caving. The Indus Valley people engraved animals, figures or numerous seals, and most of the seals had carved pictures of the humped bull. जैसा कि आप पिक्चर में देख रहे हो, humped bull है ना, buffalo, tiger, rhinoceros, goat and elephant. Several female deity and male gods were also engraved on the seals. So भगवान जी भी engrave किए जाते थे. Metal casting. Metal smithy was also prominent art as well as craft, and they made bronze tools and weapons. Statuette of a dancing girl in bronze found in Mohenjo-daro reveals their mastery in bronze casting. So आप देखिए इनकी पहले के लोग कितने skilled हुआ करते थे. Sculpture. The Indus Valley people made terracotta, burnt clay, toys, figures of animals and figurines, and statue of the shawl clad yogi found in Mohenjo-daro reveals the artistic skills of the Indus Valley craftsmen. Seal making. A large number of over 2,000 seals, circular and cylindrical in shape, have been discovered, and human and animal figures are depicted on the seals. These seals were used by different guilds or merchants and traders for stamping purposes. They give us information about the artistic skill and religious beliefs, dresses, ornaments, trade contacts, commercial relations, and the script of the Indus Valley people. The seal of a deity sitting in a yogi posture and surrounded by animals has been identified with Goa Pashupati, that is Shiva. Social and economic life of Indus Valley people. The ruins of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro shed a good deal of light on the socio-economic life of the Indus Valley people. There was a big improvement in their food habits, dress style एंड अम्यूज़मेंट. तो उस एक बहुत बड़ा चेंज आया था उन्हें, उनके उसमें आप उन्होंने ड्रेसअप अच्छा होना शुरू कर दिया, फूड हैबिट्स चेंज हो गई, और जो वो अम्यूज़ करते थे, फन करते थे, उसमें भी. द पॉलिटिकल एंड सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ सोसाइटी बिकेम मोर डेफिनिट, and many of our religious practices had their beginnings in this period. Food, wheat and barley was a staple food of the people, and they consumed milk, meat, fish, fruits and dates. Dress and ornaments. The discovery of a large number of spindles indicates that cotton and woolen thread were used to weave cloth. Dhoti and shawl were worn by men and women alike. Ornaments were worn by rich and poor people alike. दोनों की तरह दोनों ही पहनते थे ornaments, and ornaments were worn by rich लोगों के द्वारा भी पहना जाता था, poor लोगों के द्वारा भी. Women wore necklaces, bangles, bracelets, earrings and waistbands made of silver, bone, स्टोन, आइवरी और शेल्स. ये सब चीज़ों के बने हुए ऑर्नामेंट्स, बैंगल्स, ब्रेसलेट्स वगैरह औरतें पहनती थी. एंड विमेन कॉम्ड देयर हेयर इन वेरियस स्टाइल्स. उनके डिफरेंट, पहले के लोग बड़े अच्छे अच्छे स्टाइल बनाते थे अपने बालों के बच्चों. Men too adorned themselves with ornaments like earrings and armlets. तो वो भी आदमी लोग भी पहना करते थे. Occupations. Agriculture was the main occupation of the Indus Valley people. They irrigated their lands with flood waters, and villages were generally located near the flood plains. Their fields were situated close to the river banks where flood waters could easily reach. अब वो उस पानी से अपनी खेती बाड़ी किया करते थे. They built dams, embankments and channels to control the flood waters. क्योंकि बाढ़ का पानी कभी भी आ जाता था, तो उन्होंने ये सब चीज़ें बनाई ताकि उसे रोक सकें. They grew wheat, barley, mustard, sesame, cotton, millets, vegetables, etc. And they were the earliest people to grow cotton. Pottery, smithy, spinning and weaving were other occupations. The jeweler produced jewelry of metals, shells, bones, etc. And trade and commerce. Trade, both internal and external, was flourishing. Several Mesopotamian seals have been found at various sites of the Indus Valley. Indus Valley seals have been found in Mesopotamia, indicating that foreign trade across the seas existed, and the remains of a dockyard at Lothal in Gujarat confirm the maritime activities for trade and commerce. Mesopotamian records also mention Melua, a term that they used for the Indus Valley seaports. The Indus Valley people had trade relations with southern India and Central Asia and some western countries. They trade with Baluchistan, now in Pakistan, and Persia, now it is in Iraq, and Sumeria, which is Mesopotamia, now in Iraq. The main items of trade were tin, copper, gold, timber, silver and precious stones. Goods were generally transported on bullock carts by boat. एक तो बुलक कार्ट्स के थ्रू भी जाते थे और बोट्स भी वहाँ यूज़ होती थी बच्चों. पास टाइम एंड अम्यूजमेंट्स. द इंडस वैली पीपल वर फॉन्ड ऑफ इंडोर गेम्स लाइक डाइस एंड मार्बल्स. आपने देखा ना, शतरंज, डाइस खेला करते थे शतरंज की तरह पहले वो. एंड दे टुक इंटरेस्ट इन म्यूजिक एंड डांस टू. दे मेड टेराकोटा टॉयज फॉर द अम्यूजमेंट ऑफ चिल्ड्रन. Religion. Our knowledge of the religious beliefs of the Indus Valley people has been derived mainly from the seals, figurines and the Great Bath. The sacred people tree was used as a religious symbol in those times, and the three-headed figure of a male god in a yogic posture surrounded by animals has been considered to be the forerunner of Shiva and or Pashupati. These people worshipped Shiva in the form of linga also, and they also worshipped mother goddess who represented fertility. However, no temple structures have been discovered from the ruins, and the Indus Valley people believed in after death. They buried their dead along with food, ornaments and articles of personal use. Some of them practiced urn burials, and the dead were disposed by cremation as well. Social organization. There were the three distinct social classes or groups. The ruling class lived in the citadel and comprised wealthy merchants and the high priests. The second group consisted of petty merchants. artisans and craftsmen. The third group consisted of laborers or workers who lived in the small huts and barracks in the outer limits of the city. The farmers lived in the villages around the cities. Political organization, there are no evidences of one single ruler or king, and the city was probably administered by a group or wealthy merchants and priests. There existed some kind of municipal organization which took care of sanitation, regulated trade, collected taxes and maintained law and order in city, क्योंकि ये जरूरी भी था उसके लिए maintain रखना. Thus a priestly oligarchy controlled the economy and civil government. Decline of the Indus Valley civilization. The Indus Valley civilization flourished for about thousands of years. The cities did not change during the long period. The city of Mohenjo-daro, however, was destroyed over and over again and was rebuilt at the same time as many as 9 times. The great civilization disappeared by about 1500 BC and when the Aryans began to arrive in India. The exact causes of decline of Indus Valley civilization are still not known. The following reasons have been suggested by various historians. It might have been destroyed by recurring floods. An epidemic might have killed the people. Due to deforestation on a large scale, the climate began to change and the region became dry like a desert. The earthquakes might have rocked the entire region, resulting in the total destruction of the civilization. The Aryans invaded their cities and destroyed them. Contributions of the Indus Valley civilization. The Indus Valley people were peace-loving people. They enjoyed beauties of nature and comforts of life. उन्हें ये बहुत पसंद था. And they made remarkable contributions to the world enumerated as below. The Indus Valley people gave to the world its first urban civilization. Its town planning was superb, as I told you earlier, and unsurpassed. Its drainage system and engineering works were also extremely and perhaps the first of their kind. The art of pottery was excellent and they invented the device of cart to harness the animal power for the benefit of men. Let's do it, bachcho. Which things have helped archaeologists to know about the artistic skills, trade contacts, dress ornaments, religious beliefs and the script of Harappan people and why? Okay, कुछ words है हमारे पास, word brain में देखते हैं. Abundant, available in large quantities. Relics and object tradition etc. from the past that still service today, and exquisite is extremely beautiful and pleasing. Hump, a large round lump on the back of an animal. Exercises in first part, tick the correct answer. So choose कीजिए आप correct answer. Fill in the blanks. तो blank को find out करने के लिए take the help of the chapter. Write true or false. जो statement आपको गलत लगती है आपके chapter के according, write false और सही के लिए true. Answer the following questions briefly and answer the following questions in detail. So brief को as usual अपनी notebook में लिखेंगे आप in 3-4 lines and detail में लिखेंगे आप explanations के साथ. Okay. Next है आपके पास skills, enrichment zone, quick response, make clay models of animals, toys and articles used by Harappan people and display them in your classroom. Map work on an outline map of India, mark the area, extent and main centers where the Indus Valley civilization flourished. Activity, collect photographs related to Indus Valley civilization and paste them in your scrapbook. Out of the box बच्चों, क्या है हमारे पास आज out of the box में? In what way do you think that deciphering of Indus Valley script would be beneficial? So इसके बारे में सोचें, search करें and have fun, enjoy बच्चों.